Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to look at a trade that one of our customers sent in on the Euro US dollar. He was looking at this automatic TS3 sell setup here on the 5-minute chart that's just unfolded here. But the reason I wanted to show you this trade setup was not because it was a valid trade setup. Here you can see the STF is black, so it's a perfectly valid trade setup. If we place the analysis on, he would have gone down to the first target for a nice 2.4 hour profit. But I want to show you how this fits in with our multi-time frame analysis, which is what we've been talking about a lot in our last few videos. So for this, we go to the higher time frame. So on a 5-minute Forex chart, we'd go out to the 15-minute chart, and let's have a look at the higher time frame charts. Now, can you see how we had a TS3 sell set up here a bit earlier on? This high here was the 5-minute short trade setup, but before that we had a TS3 sell here on the 15-minute chart. If I go back to the previous pivot high here, you can see that also gave us a decision point resistance area. So now if we go down to our 5-minute chart, let's have a look at how that looked on our 5-minute chart. Well, here you can see that's our 15-minute resistance, so that would be deemed an important high because it's a high at a higher time frame resistance, so therefore we deem that as an important high. We then have an initial decline down. In Elliott wave terms, that will be defined as a wave 1. We then have initial correction that unfolds as an ABC. This is what we look for a wave 2. Therefore our TS3 sell here is what we call our holy grail trade setup. If I place the analysis on, we're then expecting a typical, or we're expecting a wave 3 kind of decline. So in other words, what we're looking for is the market to go to our typical wave 3 WPT, which is here, rather than just our first target. So rather than coming out our first target, we grab and drag our risk reward and take it down to the typical wave 3 WPT. And you see suddenly that increases your risk reward to near a 5R, or 5 times greater than the initial risk. As the market came down into this level, we can see that the STF had gone strong. It had gone strong here. In other words, it had gone beyond our grey strength band. When this happens, we then swap to our ATR stop, which is our red and blue dots for running the trade a little bit further. So in other words, the market would have held you in till this level here. You can see the market went down, came up to that level. If I drag the risk reward down to that level there, you can see that's where you would have been stopped out. So the beauty of this is it turned a plus 2.4 R trade into a trade that returned almost 7 times the initial risk. So in other words, that was a very good and profitable trade. And it was all set up because on the higher time frame chart, there it is, you'd have placed that DP on the chart in advance. Remember, these are leading indicators. They're on the chart in advance, so you've been ready for that higher time frame resistance. You're then seeing the initial decline down, the initial correction. In Elliott wave terms, this would be wave 2. We're then looking for a wave 3 kind of decline. So if I put the Elliott wave on here, you can see this is what it looks like on our 15-minute chart. So 1, a 2, we're looking for the wave 2 to subdivide into a lesser degree or minor ABC. That's what we saw on the shorter term 5-minute chart. We then have a strong decline. So that was all set up because of our DP on a higher time frame 15-minute chart, which also came in as a TS3 sell. So both of those were telling us that was an important high, and therefore to look for an initial decline down, initial correction, then looking for a short trade. That came in on our shorter 5-minute chart. There you can see it on our 5-minute chart. There's our higher time frame 15-minute resistance. Wave 1, wave 2, unfolding as an ABC, into our TS3 sell here. Initially into the typical wave 3 WPT. The STF went strong. As we hit that, we then trailed with our ATR stop, and the result was a nice 7.4R profit. Remember, we use correct position sizing to vary the number of lots, in this case because it's 4x, to keep our initial risk small under control. In this case, risking less than 2% on a sample $20,000 account. The result was a profit of approximately 7 times greater than that initial risk, so a very good trade there indeed. So I wanted just to share this, just to show how our multi-time frame analysis works on Forex charts, particularly as this was a trade setup that was sent in by one of our traders down in Australia. So well done to that trader for that trade, and thank you for sending it in. And hopefully everybody else has benefited from this and see MTPredictor working on some forex charts, and again on using our multi-time frame analysis for having profits much larger than our initial risks.